Yes, people, yes, people, yes, people. Welcome back to the We Talk Football podcast. It was a howler of a weekend from me. West Ham 3-0 up at half, 3-1 up at half time. Game ends 3-all. I'm giving it big on social media. Now everyone's getting back at me. The motivation to make this video is minimal. But we brought on David today, Kwaku's cousin, an Arsenal fan, a guy that knows his football, and he's gonna rub it in a little bit more. How you feeling, David?
Basically, yeah. I'm feeling good. Yeah, thanks for having me on. That's such a good time, such a good time.
Yeah. What did you think about the game then? We might as well start there.
Yeah, we'll just start there. To be honest, it was a shocker from both of us defensively. You look at it and we couldn't have started any worse. I was just looking at honestly, where is our defense? I hate the way Arsenal defend anyway, because we just love to do this kind of zonal marking or just hoping that, the ball doesn't land to people in the box and they won't finish it. Yeah. But something about Jay Lings, but he absolutely loves it against us. Absolutely loves it. So for me, if he's ever in the box, he's probably the first man I'm marking, but Arsenal seem to give him all the space and time. Antonio's just a bully as well. He will just bully you for 90 minutes where possible. He did that. It was for the third goal, it was him just absolutely dominating our centre backs. But then the second one as well was just complete lapses in judgment. You're just looking as a professional football club, you can't be doing that. That's totally you can be doing that. But the spirit to come back is always great. It's it's always great when you look at it. It's nice to see. And I thought Odegaard had a brilliant game. I thought Odegaard was on form. Yeah. Really inspired us to get back in it. Lacazette was quality. And I think for him, it's one of those ones where he hasn't had the rub of the green for a little while. He's had times where he's probably done a lot more and not got his luck. At this time, the finish weren't going in, if we were being honest. He was probably hitting that wide. But to ping that off of Souček and it go in, it's he kind of deserved it,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I'm going to say the most Michael Owen quote of all time. It was very much two halves. It was literally two halves. First half, I just think Arsenal, as much as we were good, Arsenal met us with a level of just awful that I've never seen before. It's probably the worst I've ever seen Arsenal play in terms of defensively. It was just a bit of a capitulation. As soon as we scored the third goal, you were quite unfortunate with the third goal. I thought it was actually offside on first thoughts, but managed to bag that, go up the other end. Souček gets an unlucky own goal. Like you said, it was going to go wide. But from that goal going in, I was worried because it was almost like David Moyes said to the players, let's put the brakes on now. Let's try and consolidate the win. But then we almost invited pressure onto us for the next 60 minutes, instead of trying to maintain and keep the ball higher up the pitch, we kind of just thought, let's sit on the halfway line, and you just picked us off because you got better technical quality players. You know what I mean? What did you think about the game, Quakes?
Like David said, I thought Odegaard had a really good game. He looks slick. He looks like he really fits in. He looks like the player that kind of everybody was scouting a football manager 5 years ago. In terms of the game itself, it all flipped when the goal went in just before half time. The Souček own goal, but a brilliant first touch from Lacazette and a brilliant turn. Like you say, Dave, it's unfortunate not to get that goal. It was going wide, but he had a great all-round game. But when that goes in, you can just see the writing on the wall. And the second half, it was kind of back to the wall for West Ham. They didn't really do anything to mitigate the threat coming down from Arsenal's right-hand side. I thought Callum Chambers had a great game, one of the best games I've seen him play in a while. It was one of those great games of football, almost akin to the Spurs West Ham game earlier in the season. So obviously North London got their retribution on West Ham because West Ham were on the better side of that earlier in the season. It was a great game of football. There was some terrible defending. There was some great defending. It was just madness. And from a neutral's point of view, you love to see it. From a Chelsea fan's point of view, you also love to see it as well because West Ham have been challengers in terms of those top four places. And I feel like this kind of loss, or no, not even a loss, it feels like a loss for West Ham, but this draw kind of seals their fate. I don't think they're going to make top four this season. I think the top three in terms of City, United and Leicester are there. And then it's just maybe two or three teams battling for that last place, and Chelsea are one of those teams. I feel like West Ham's run the games coming up and what Chelsea have got coming up, I feel like this draw kind of sealed West Ham's fate in terms of top four.
You're trying to punch a man while he's down, Quakey.
I'm not even, mate. I'm not even.
Because that's my job. That's
No, I'm inclined to agree with you. I've always been skeptical of the whole top four race anyway. But I think in terms of the games that we've got left, there are some winnable games. But we've got to play you. We've got to play Leicester. We've got to play quite a few big teams still, and it's a difficult run-in. You know, there are some winnable games, but of course there are some of the big boys we've got to play. I think the top four might just be out of reach. If we'd have won that game, obviously we'd have gone level. But like I was alluding to last week, our goal difference is so inferior that you know we've got to rely on you to lose a game, draw a game, drop points before if we both win. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
One of those.
I think the football gods just didn't want that for us, because they can't have West Ham with that kind of energy for the whole season. If you won and you're pushing for top four, like honestly, even in mid-game, the stuff I was getting in the group chat from some of these West Ham fans.
Oh yeah,
I was like, I couldn't deal with it. I was like, they're so chippy now, but
yeah,
they needed that little bit of humbling, and it came through a couple of own goals, came through a lovely Lacazette finish. That's all you can ask for, really.
Dave, what's your expectations for Arsenal this season?
Honestly, bro, it's just about finding some form of consistency right now. We got to push as hard as we can in Europa League, because that's the only way we can do anything worthwhile with this season to kick on for next season. I think it's going to be so difficult to make any signings if we're not in any of the top competitions. And we're already kind of going around this route of like loan deals to then buy, so it doesn't give loads of confidence that we're just gonna grab a amazing quality player again. So I think we really need to be in some of the top competitions to do well, but the only way we're going to do that is to find some consistency for like tournament football. Like obviously we're not getting anywhere in the league anywhere decent, so we have to just write that one off quick and focus on Europa.
You're not getting anywhere in the league because you're not getting anywhere in the league because you play your Aubameyang on the right, for God's sake. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, like the confusion. I'm looking at it like Jamie Redknapp's got a point. He was just looking at, why on earth would you do that? You cut off all their shooting options. He's not left-footed. He's not gonna try and pop one in with his left. Saka's there gonna not be popping it with his right.
Yeah.
No clue why we did that. No clue why we did that. Maybe more discipline issues. Just put him out of position. We'll see.
Is Arteta the right man to take you forward though?
I still think yes. I think he's got that pep in him. He's bought himself enough time, I think, with the FA Cup, but he's now losing. He's burning through that really quick with these results and this inconsistency. But if anything, this is the season you want to try stuff out, because it's a weird season anyway. It's like kind of just a bit of a mess, you know what I mean? But yeah, if he's not able to get what he needs next season, then it's gonna be an issue for him. But no, I back him. I think he's got the right ideas. He's actually got more of the man management about him as well. Yeah. Which I think is good. Like being able to bench a captain, that's bold for the Spurs game. But then to get the result, is unbelievable. I thought we'd whack in there that we did beat Spurs 2-1 without our captain. Yeah. It's always good to mention. So it's a big deal.
Well, if you think about, obviously the Spurs game was a great result for you. Obviously you got the disappointing result in the week in Europe, but then to turn around this result against West Ham, like it or hate it, really, love it or hate it, I should say. West Ham are on great form as well. So to pick up a draw and pick up a point away from home at us isn't an easy task at the moment. So it's like you are on good form, and it seems like you're getting onto good form near the end of the season. So the thing, so looking at the table, you're 9th in the table now. Everton are above you, 4 points clear with a game in hand. So it's like progressing in the league is going to be, you're going to have to put in a serious run to do that. But then Aston Villa are below you with a game in hand as well. So where can you see Arsenal finishing in the? I know it's a hard question, but where can you see Arsenal finishing? Do you think you'll get into the Europa League spaces, or do you think 9th is going to be your place?
It's so difficult, but like you said, like there's some really good teams that are in decent form, like above us or like are in and around us. Like you say, like you guys weren't pushovers, Like I was genuinely pretty worried going into the game because you guys seem to be up for it. It's weird though that you don't do it at your ground. It seems to be when you come to play us that you're all over it. But like the likes of Souček, Jay Lings, Declan Rice, Antonio have been phenomenal this season. Souček was looking like prime Yaya Toure at some points, and I was like, "This is mad."
Don't gas him
Yeah,
up.
don't listen to Quaker. Don't listen to Quaker. Yeah. Carry on.
Honestly, legit. Like, I have to give props where they do, but they all came to the Arsenal and it didn't quite work out, But it's different. It's a different story.
It worked out for 40 minutes.
40 minutes, yeah, exactly. But even the likes of like Ben Rama, suddenly, like, he was twisting and turning people out. And I was like, mate. But it shows like how the Prem's just generally raised this game across the league. There's a lot of better teams now. Aston Villa will have a good run, I reckon, towards the end of the season. They've got games to catch up on still. For me, I think top 8 is still doable. Europa spots, I wouldn't say I'm confident, but I think it is still doable. If anyone can do it, it'll be like an Arsenal kind of jammy run through to the end and we can get there, but I'm not confident in it. I'm not going to put my house on that one.
Well, hopefully you'll win the Europa League and mitigate that issue.
Exactly, yeah. And then that'll be an interesting when we start like pushing some of the top 7 teams out, because I don't know if we're going to have all the spots available if it now becomes a thing where the 4th spot in Champions League doesn't quite get given this year because there's too many English teams. Could be interesting for Chelsea.
It's gonna be an interesting end of the season. Speaking of Chelsea, though, Quakes, good result in the FA Cup, progressing to the next round, 2-0 win against Sheffield United. Did you get a chance to watch the game?
Yeah, it was probably our worst performance under Thomas Tuchel. We looked really poor in the second half. Sheffield United were unlucky not to get something out of the game, but not to progress through to the semi-finals. They had like a gilt-edged chance in the second half, where McGoldrick should have put the ball in the back of the net. He was probably about 2-3 yards out, and he heads it wide. And yeah, we got really lucky in the second half. Obviously, it's cup football, so the performance doesn't really matter as much. And then, as Tuchel kind of alluded to, we're on a bit of a come down after the big result against Atletico. So a performance like this was to be expected. Just happy to come out with a result. And obviously, we've drawn Man City in the next round, which obviously we're looking to avoid. We want to either pick up Leicester or Southampton. But if you want to win these competitions, you've got to beat big teams. So I suppose play City now and try and beat them in the semi-finals as opposed to maybe like losing to them in the finals. But yeah, man, so it was a good result. Again, we haven't conceded the goal under Tuchel, we've only conceded 1 goal from an opposition player under Tuchel. So we're looking pretty formidable at the moment. But the performance yesterday was not great, to say the least.
That's fair. I mean, all you can ask is that you get the result, and I suppose a 2-0 win is always going to be solid. You kept another clean sheet. I suppose obviously you have got City in the next round, but you've managed to avoid them in the Champions League drawers. So you've got to play them at some point. They've got to stop you from winning something. So
it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Obviously, after the international break, the league games we've got coming up are pretty favourable. We've got like West Brom, we've got Palace, we've got Brighton. So I feel like off the back of the international break, we should be able to solidify top 4. But it's just the cup games which are going to be the most telling in terms of, obviously Porto is probably the easiest draw we could have got, but again, that's still a 2-legged tie against the Champions League team. And then we've got City in the semi-final of the cup. So that's what will define our season. Really, those games against Porto and that game against Man City in the semi-final. But things are going well at Chelsea, and I cannot complain. Obviously, we're looking like we're on the charge for a couple of trophies.
Does Tuchel get to stay in the role? In the job if he finishes top 4?
If Tuchel finishes top 4, does he get the same job?
Yeah. So say he loses in the semi-final of both cups.
Yeah.
Does he? Yeah. But he finishes top 4. Does he stay as a manager?
100%. His remit when he come in was like the Champions League was such a far-fetched dream. Like nobody would have ever, like Roman Abramovich, even with his expectations, would have never been like, you've got to win the Champions League and you've got to win the FA Cup. His remit when he came in was to get Chelsea in the top 4. So if he gets top 4 and we don't win a trophy, then yeah, he definitely stays in the job.
Yeah, it annoys me. It annoys me because I had that brief period where there's been a couple of periods this year where Arsenal didn't win a game for 13 games, and I was just loving it. And then I got to record, episodes every week with Kwaku when Chelsea were on terrible runs, and I could just make dig after dig after dig. And now it's started to go West Ham's downfall.
But you never can. Moving Chelsea, that people love to dig and dig and dig. But at the end of the season, it always seems that we finish in the top 4, we win a trophy.
I don't understand it. It's something about you lot. It's every horrible. Like we're saying, that year when you finished 8th or something, or 7th, and then you won the Champions League and knocked Spurs out of that Champions.
I won the FA Cup as well. We finished 6th when Like, yeah, it's the thing is, I don't know what it is. It's like a winning mentality that probably has to be attributed to Roman Abramovich being like a ruthless businessman. But at the end of the season, we always seem to have achieved something. Do you know what I mean? We've always seemed to have either won a trophy or like exceeded expectations. So I don't know. I feel like this is one of those seasons that's got the smell of 2012. And if we manage to pick up one of those trophies, man, I'll be absolutely gassed. You won't want to come on the podcast. I'll be.
That's what you don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with West Ham fans. You don't want to deal with Spurs fans. But the worst is dealing with gassed up Chelsea fans. Honestly, I think it's some of the worst.
So there's so many facts there. The worst thing as well, like if you look at Chelsea's run to the Champions League final, they've actually got quite a favourable draw now. Have you seen the semi-final as well? So it's like, did a video last week with Ben. It was like he thinks Chelsea are going to get to the final as well, and I don't think it's.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
I hate the idea. I'm quitting the podcast.
You can't just stop it there. No, what you got to hope for is that, like, they lose horribly in the final. You know what I mean? You get there, all the hopes are up, and then it's just an absolute wax.
The thing is,
like 4-0.
You guys know it's not beyond the realm of possibility that somehow Dortmund managed to get to the final. It's a Chelsea-Dortmund Champions League final. Chelsea-Dortmund. And you know what will happen? It'll be like Timo Werner, who's done nothing all year, bags a hat-trick. That's what will happen. It'll be something ridiculous like that. It's jokes, but we all now finally know who the best team in London is.
Yeesh.
And I think that's a good place to end the podcast. Obviously, David, thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
No worries, man.
Hopefully, when we do this thing in person, do like a roundtable thing, we'll get you on and hear your opinions on Arsenal. But make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you check out our other videos as well, and we'll be back again with more videos.
Sick.
Definitely, man. Appreciate it.